Okay, so welcome to everybody who is watching this presentation today. And now we are live on Ambedkar Caravan Media on the Facebook page. And today we are going to have a second presentation from Lokamitra on the evolution and development of Nagaloka. And we will be looking at uh, the second talk today, the mission and activities of Naglok. And as we know that Lokamitra is the founder of Nagarjuna Training Institute based in Nagpur, which is a sprawling campus of 14.5 acres of land and now almost in Nagpur city, which is basically training young Ambedkarites and Buddhist youths in Buddhism and social action. So I welcome everybody and I request Lokamitra to present his second talk today on the mission and activities of Naglok. So handing over to Lokamitra.
Yes, well, good. Hi, JPM. Mangesh, thank you very much. And thank you to Ambedkar Caravan. So 2 days ago, I tried to contextualize Nagaloka. And I looked at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's conversion to Buddhism and its significance a little bit vis-a-vis the rest of his work and tried to show that really the conversion was the crown of his remarkable life. And you know, by implication, if we don't take seriously that, then in a sense we haven't taken him seriously enough. And I showed how when I came to India in 1978, I started Dhamma activities with Sri Ratna, under the name of Sri Ratna. And we started Dhamma activities, we started social activities. First of all, the Ambedkarite movement is really limited to a particular community in Maharashtra and to pockets of people throughout India, Delhi, Kanpur, Chennai, and so on. But at the time of the centenary, 1991, interest in Babasaheb exploded, and suddenly we found that people all over India wanted to, appreciated Babasaheb like never before, and he became, an all India phenomenon suddenly. But it's not quite as sudden as that. It was obviously growing over the years. And as people came to appreciate Babasaheb's sort of social and political work, then they saw his conversion to Buddhism. And many young people started to want to know, well, why? They wanted to know about it. Now, we couldn't go to people all over India, so we set up a training center, the Nagarjuna Institute on the Nagaloka campus in Nagpur, to help train people so that they could go away and share, well, not only be transformed themselves, but share what they've learned with others. So it's that work I'm going to talk about this morning. So we have a beautiful campus, as Mangesh said, 14.5 acres on the Compty Road. And this is it. We've got a number of buildings there. Over the last 20 years, we've gradually built up these buildings. But the heart of the campus is this beautiful statue of the Walking Buddha. And when we developed the campus, we wanted a statue of the Buddha in the center of the campus. And we thought, well, it has to be something that Babasaheb related to Babasaheb. And we understood that he liked to see the Buddha walking. So we had a friend, a very famous sculptor from Taiwan and other friends to support him who wanted to do this work for us. And as a result of that, we have this phenomenally magnificent statue of the Buddha, Walking Buddha. And at the time of the opening in 2009, over 1 lakh people attended. And almost immediately became a a symbol of the revival of Buddhism in India. And it continually inspires us and sets the tone for everything we do. And it's become very famous. It's become a sort of pilgrimage place as a result. And many, many people come and visit. So the Nagarjuna Institute, Training in Buddhism and Dr. Ambedkar. So we introduce, I'm not quite happy with the word socially disadvantaged, but we introduce youth from all over India who want to know more about Baba Saheb's great vision of Prabuddha Bharat and Buddha's teachings with a social orientation, so that they can, it can impact their lives and that they can go away and share what they learn with others. And we conduct 2 major residential programs every year. We have an 8-month introductory course, which we started in 2002. And since then, we've had about 1,400 or so people passing through, attending that course. And also the 3-year BA degree course, which is part of Nagpur University. That started in 2012, and that's a course in Buddhist studies and Dr. Ambedkar studies. So we have these 2 residential courses, and they're not just sort of academic courses, they're entirely practical. So they get the students get a thorough training in basic Buddhist teachings, and especially Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's approach to the Dhamma, because that's the link for them, and his approach is the one most relevant to the situation here. So even though some people come from different backgrounds, we have some people from OBC backgrounds, some people from Chakma backgrounds, but they are all find this approach very, very significant and meaningful. So they learn how to cultivate their minds through daily meditation. They learn the significance of puja, how it's an actual practice to elevate the mind and not just a sort of a praying to the Buddha. And they also receive an introduction to the wider work of Baba Saheb, especially his work on the Constitution. So, and during the year, they will have retreats. They'll have special lectures. We have many visitors coming and giving guest lectures to them, and so on. They experience Buddhist community life, and they learn about social work and social activism. Some students we introduce the Chinese language. We have a lot of friends in China and Taiwan, and there are possibilities there for students to continue their studies. And we feel that this connection with the Eastern Buddhist brothers and sisters is very, very important. I shall talk more about that in 2 days' time. So at present, 8 of our students are now in Taiwan pursuing further studies. And hopefully they'll come back. When they come back, they will help at the Nagarjuna Institute for some time. You know, empowerment is a term used in social circles. And I've been working in the Dhamma and in social work for over 45 years now. And what I've seen in terms of the impact of Dhamma practice here in India with followers of Baba Saheb is that the Dhamma has an incredible impact in terms of empowering people. And our students come from some of the most oppressed situations in India. And when they come to us, some of them despair, some of them feel they can't do much in their lives. But that changes. After a few months of Dhamma practice, they develop a new vision of life. And the basic training transforms and empowers many of them. They learn that they can change their minds, they can develop skillful mental states, that they don't just have to be passive to the situation in which they live, the terrible sort of social conditioning that they live in. And they realize that they can do something with their lives, both for themselves and for society. And they develop the confidence to do so. Of course, it doesn't make life easy, but it gives them the strength to go through the difficulties that so many of them inevitably have to face in their lives. And by becoming so strongly Buddhist, yeah, they contribute to the growth of Buddhism in India and therefore to the growth of democracy. I see them like pebbles, dropping a pebble or stone in a pool of water. You know, when you drop a stone in some water, the ripples move out a long way. So each one of our students, because they've changed themselves, they're like these stones in the lake. They have an impact on their surroundings when they leave us. There's something else very important about their experience at Nagaloka. These students come from all over India, from many scheduled caste backgrounds, and some from scheduled tribe backgrounds, some from Chakma backgrounds, some, as I said, from OBC backgrounds, and we've had one or two others too. And as we know, that people often identify very strongly with their own community, and that's the case with many of our students when they actually come to Nagaloka. But after practicing the Dhamma together, after developing confidence in the Dhamma, they begin to relate to each other, not in terms of where they've come from, their old community, but in terms of where they're going together, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So they tend to relate in terms of not their differences, but what they have in common. And they discover, in a sense, the Buddha's teaching on Sangha. You know, this wonderful simile of the Buddha. He said, you take any four rivers, yeah, whatever they may be, and they all go to the sea. If you take a drop of seawater, can you tell which river that drop of seawater came from? And of course you can't. So this is the real meaning of Sangha, the merging of our old identities, the transcending of our old identities. So what we have at Nagaloka is a sort of a very special mini unique India, a caste-free India, a community-free India, a region-free India. And this is the equality of Sangha. So the confidence they develop in the Dhamma and Dr. Ambedkar's great vision gives them the energy to share what they've learned with many others in their towns and villages when they go out, or when they leave Nagaloka. So at the top right, you've got in Tamil Nadu. In below that, you've got a retreat in UP. Below here, you've got in Chhattisgarh, and here in Rajasthan. So many of them really want to share what they've got in terms of what they've got, the incredible confidence they've got in the Dhamma and Dr. Ambedkar's vision. And so they do what they can. Of course, many engage in social projects. Many come from social activist backgrounds anyway, and they find that this sort of gives them strength to work even further. And many social projects they're involving with, but I'll just give you an example. Working with children from the Mushahar community or rat-eating caste in Bihar and UP. Starting schools, several have started schools, one for disabled children, one for others. Hostels, starting hostels. Several hospitals have been started, two after the tsunami. Working in villages to counter superstition and encourage women's empowerment. Responding to atrocities, and sometimes terrible atrocities. Running kindergartens and study classes for children in villages. Motivating youth. These are just some of the things, but I'm sure there are many more, because we don't actually know all the work that our ex-students or alumni are doing. So the Dhamma empowers them to be even more effective in their social work. Many ex-students were involved in the relief work in the Kerala floods. And as I said 2 days ago, at the time of these calamities, it's the most socially excluded members of society, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and others, who suffer most. They don't get their fair share of relief supplies. There's been a lot of documentation of this, but it still seems to happen every time. Yeah? And even now, in the COVID-19, it's happening. You know, it's the poorest people, most socially excluded, discriminated people who suffer most. So in this terrible pandemic, our ex-students all over India are responding, some working alone, doing what they can, some with other NGOs, and some helping local government. And they work with people in the slums, people cut off in villages, and migrants who are struggling to get home. Yeah? A team of Nagaloka alumni, just here below, has been formed, not by me, but this was a spontaneous development. So these alumni come from all over India, and they meet weekly or more, and they're coordinating work all over India in a number of states. And so far they've been able to help a few thousand people. And so I'll just give an idea. Now you've got Maitreratna from Orissa, you've got Lakinda from Jharkhand, you've got Banu, I think from Madhya Pradesh, or I think he's Rajasthan originally, Asangavadra from Karnataka, Binoj Babu Kerala, Ravi from Karnataka, Divya from Tamil Nadu, Prashant from Maharashtra, Maitreratna from Arunachal Pradesh, Rahul from Telangana, and Pradeep from Rajasthan. So you've got quite a mixture of people. And here you've got Upendra on the right from Bihar, actually from Bodh Gaya. Yeah. So this really is the fruit of the training. If we just trained people in Buddhism and they went away and got on with their ordinary lives, I think we'd have felt we'd failed in our training. And Baba said that the Dhamma must express itself, it must manifest itself especially in developing, promoting, bringing about equality and ending inequality. So we don't tell our students, our ex-students, what they've got to do. This is by and large spontaneous, and it really is the fruit of the Dhamma. So we now have an all India community of alumni ex-students. This was a year ago. I think we probably got about 1,450 now, and they're from 25 different states, and they've now formed their independent Nagaloka Alumni Association, and it's a national and independent body of alumni. And their purpose is really to strengthen the network of alumni all over India, to support each other and to coordinate their activities. And gradually they're going from strength to strength. And then every year we have conferences at Nagaloka to look at issues, that explore issues that they want to look at. And from time to time we have retreats, and they have local regional conferences sometimes. So we're trying to encourage those who want to take the Dhamma and social activism further, so that they can lead the activities and guide others. And we do this through smaller workshops, study and Dhamma retreats, personal mentoring, and so on. And we've got some very, very determined, dedicated people. Now, one of the things that some of them are doing, a project that we started, is called the Ashoka Dhammaduta project. And this is a project of taking the Dhamma to the towns and villages in different parts of India. As I said, many alumni teach what they've learned of the Dhamma from the Nagarjuna Institute in their towns and villages. So through this program, we're trying to make their teaching more effective and structured, with the aim of developing sustainable and confident Buddhist communities throughout India. So this is a present. We're just concluding a 3-year, actually it's 2-year pilot project, because the coronavirus has sort of meant we can't continue at the moment. But we've just completed just over 2 years. And during this time, we've had 7 clusters of Nagarjuna Institute alumni, each consisting of 3 alumni, working in these different states in India. You can see them here: UP, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Telangana, Karnataka, Maharashtra. And together they take weekly classes in between 4 and 6 places over 6 months. Then they have a basic program over those 6 months. After that, they go to another 4 to 5 areas. And they teach the same program. Yeah? And in the meantime, they keep in touch with the old classes, so they help them to continue to develop. So in this year, each cluster is developing 8 to 10 Buddhist communities in a year. And they teach basic ethics, meditation, study, Buddhist rituals, and so on. And 2 of the clusters, the one in Maharashtra and the one in Chhattisgarh, are run only by women. And so they have a sort of standard class format. Here are 2 classes. They start with the refuges and precepts. They do a little bit of meditation. We introduce them to basic Buddhist meditation with very clear instruction. And then there's a lecture and discussion on Buddhist teachings, especially guided by Dr. Ambedkar's approach, and especially concentrating at first on why Dr. Ambedkar came to Buddhism. And sometimes we have 1 or 2 day retreats. So these are being done in these 7 states in India. And then every 3 months, we review this. We have a 5 or 6 or 7 day workshop at Nagaloka. I attend that, Vivekananda attends that, 1 or 2 others attend it. And we listen to the experiences of our Dhammadutas, their difficulties and their successes, and we learn from these and we share them. And then on hearing that, we plan the syllabus for the next 3 months, taking into account what we've learned from the previous 3 months. And at the same time, we help the Dhammadutas to improve their teaching skills. And then after the workshop, we hold a short Dhamma retreat for them so that they can deepen their own experience of the Dhamma. Of course, Buddhist rituals are very, very important, something Baba said, mentioned, emphasized. Otherwise, people go back to the old for the rituals. So the Dhammadutas conduct ceremonies for birth, marriage, house opening, death, and so on. And they train the local community in doing those. So it's more like over 2 years, but over these last 2 years, we've probably developed, we've probably done teaching in 120, 130 different communities. And there'll be a few people in each class in each community who will have been strongly impacted. And what we're hoping to do is work with these communities so they can also be centers for social action as well eventually. And so we've developed a sort of model of teaching that now can be replicated throughout India. And we've developed a manual of instruction guidance, which we're happy to share with other practitioners who want to do this work. And this is based on our experience of working in these 7 different states over these 2 years. And what we have found, and what we knew already really, is everywhere in India, there are people desperate, absolutely desperate to know the Dhamma. And we want our alumni to help satisfy that incredible thirst. So besides the Dhamma, we're helping our alumni to be more effective in their social activism. We teach basic life skills such as computer literacy and English language at Nagaloka for those who want. We have some capacity building work, training in human and civil rights and the relevant social legislations. And we've done some very good work with some young women leaders emerging. And we joined up with the Manuski Trust in Pune, a sort of sister organization, which is more devoted to social training. So the Manuski Trust in Pune has developed a fellowship program for alumni to understand, engage, and work with the increasingly complex social changes that are taking place. So it provides access to and insight into the issues and questions concerning the socio-economic issues of marginalized and discriminated communities. And we run workshops to understand human and economic rights, exposure visits, exchange visits, and so on. And it's gone very well. And it's going to be much more relevant, even more relevant after this COVID-19. A lot of our alumni go on after the Dhammachari, after the 8-month course, to pursue further education. And over 200 alumni have pursued or are now pursuing postgraduate studies, PhD, MSW, MA, MBA, in Buddhist studies, in social welfare, education, business management, philosophy, and other subjects. And some very prestigious institutions, JNU in Delhi, TIS in Mumbai and its branches. A few have gone abroad, and 5 are now studying here at the International Buddhist University in South Thailand. And when they come back, we hope they'll help to teach our next students. Some, as I said, have studied the Chinese language in China and Taiwan. So besides being a center for pilgrimage, besides training young people in Buddhism, we also use Nagaloka, or Nagaloka one of the points of Nagaloka is to develop international interaction. What we found is that very few Buddhists abroad understood and appreciated the significance of Baba Seb's conversion to Buddhism. And in the 80s, I found personally that quite a few people just dismissed it, Buddhists from abroad. So we want Buddhists from abroad to come and see for themselves the momentous work of Baba Seb, especially in reviving Buddhism in India. So the last 20 years, we've had many, many significant Buddhists come and join us at Nagaloka. And we've established very strong links with some of them. It's not only for them, it's also for us, because Buddhist followers of Baba Seb realize they've got brothers and sisters in the Dhamma throughout the world. And this was very important to Baba Seb. He didn't expect help from within India, but hoped for it from Buddhists abroad. So this is another function of this sort of bringing people from, not necessarily from abroad. I mean, this monk here, Dzongsa Khensa Rinpoche, is from Bhutan and lives in India most of the time. These monks here very close to us and from Sri Lanka. This group here from all over, these from Taiwan. And we, at the time, we often have conferences, especially at the time of Ashok Vijaya Dashmi, the day when Baba Seb converted to Buddhism. This was a conference we held in 2016, the 60th anniversary of the conversion, to look at what I call Baba Seb's 3 paramitas, liberty, equality, fraternity. Look at these principles which he said he learned from the Buddha, trying to get other Buddhists to see these, understand these through their own tradition. So Tibetan Buddhists, Zen Buddhists, Western Buddhists, Sri Lankan Buddhists, Theravada Buddhists, could they understand, could they get to grips with what Baba Seb was trying to do from their own tradition? So it was a very successful conference indeed. And this, of course, gives our alumni a chance to tell their own stories, and some of these are quite remarkable. Sangeeta was a nun for some time and is helping run Buddhist activities in Vaishali. Sushanti spent some time in Taiwan and is now teaching Chinese studies at Nagaloka. Divya is helping to run our training now, having done an MA in educational studies at in Bangalore. She's she's one of the leading lights of our educational program. And Manish from Buddha Gaya, now doing a PhD in Canada. And we've got many, many, many more like that. So at the time of Ashok Vijayadashmi, we invite them to our own program, and we often have thousands of people there. And then in the evening, we take them to Diksha Bhumi to experience for themselves the situation at the place where Baba Saheb converted on its anniversary. And this was a day that changed my life personally when I visited in 1977. I sort of arrived there unexpectedly, unplanned, and saw the incredible, or felt the incredible significance of Baba Saheb's conversion. So I think that day changed my life. I'm still here. So to conclude, the spirit behind all of this is our remarkable walking Buddha, taking the Buddha out to as many people as possible. This is the heart of Nagaloka and the spirit behind the training. All the training that we do at Nagarjuna Institute, it's not just Dhamma for ourselves, it's Dhamma to help others in whatever way we can. And Baba said, there's this lovely quote from the Buddha and the Future as Religion. It's almost the very last sentence, I think, if not the last sentence. The duty of a good Buddhist is not merely to be a good Buddhist, but to spread Buddhism. To spread Buddhism is to serve mankind. So thank you. Jai Bhim.
Lokamitra ji, thank you so much for your second presentation. I think the audiences got the idea of the work that Nagalok has been doing for last many years, and they could see the different dimensions of Nagalok. Incidentally, today is also one of the great revival of Buddhism in India. A figure related to that, Pandita Ayatithas. Today is his death anniversary. He died today on 5th May in 1914. So we pay our humble tribute and respect to this great Bodhisattva, Pandita Ayatithas, who sort of brought about the phenomenon of revolution and counter-revolution in this country, and established how Buddhism is the religion of the so-called untouchables, and he has given remarkable evidences for that. So we pay our homage to him today. There are a few questions, like one is from Mr. Vinay Gidla. He is from South India, and his question is, he is a big follower of Dr. Ambedkar, and I am from South India, and I didn't hear this college which offering these many beautiful courses. I guess it didn't reach the south side of India. That's what Mr. Gidla is saying. So what measures you are taking so that it reaches more people?
Well, first of all, I'm very sorry that you haven't heard of it. We have our terrible weaknesses and limitations, and we're not as we haven't communicated as widely as we would like to. But I hope that that is changing all the time. We're trying not to be a centralized organization. We're trying to rely on our alumni, ex-students in the field as much as anything. So we don't want to have a pyramid-like organization like Nagaloka at the back, at the top, sort of saying, do this to all the people in the field. We're trying to develop autonomous or independent, sort of encourage the development of autonomous and independent units. So sometimes that's a bit slower at first than doing things in top down. We have quite a few alumni, ex-students in Tamil Nadu, as well as in Kerala, as well as in Karnataka. And if you write to us, I think it's info@nagaloka.com. Otherwise, you can always write to me at lokamitra@gmail.com. we will put you in touch with people nearby, and we would welcome any interest, and we'd love to meet you. But I hope that our work will spread more and more as soon as possible.
Mr. Lakshmi Hari Naidu, he is saying that he is a Upasaka and he wants to spread Buddhism in India. So what can he possibly do to spread Buddhism in India? That's his intention to ask.
I think anyone can spread. I mean, we probably need to talk and understand each other. And after this pandemic has died down, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can have a conference at Nagaloka for such people and see how we can support them. Because what we're trying to do, we have these 2 long courses, 8-month courses and 3-year courses. We're also trying to develop shorter courses, 2-week courses, 1-month courses for people who have some experience of the Dhamma, some interest, and who want to develop more skills and more understanding so they can do just what he would like to do. So what I would suggest is if people can be in touch with me, they can write first to me and I will write to others, and I will put them in touch with others. I think it's easier, either me or Nagaloka, lokamitra@gmail.com. And then we can be in dialogue and see how we can sort of support each other.
Lokamitra-ji, if you need to communicate the vision of Nagalok in a few sentences, what is the vision of Nagalok in a few sentences, so that it's immediately and directly communicated?
The vision of Nagaloka is really what we understand by Prabuddha Bharat. Actually, Prabuddha Bharat is a bit limited because it's not just one country, it's the world, it's a transformation of the world, but is social world transformation. So to Baba said, the basis of this was reformation of mind, was practice the Dhamma. Yeah? So we can say, in a sense, at the very beginning, the first one was what was it? Reformation of mind and world. Yeah. So essence of Nagaloka is working on our minds, developing our minds, so that we can contribute to a better world. Yeah, or contribute at least to Prabuddha Bharat, the creation of Prabuddha Bharat. Let me get there. Yeah, there you go. Reformation of mind and world. Yeah, and this was really, and I'll say more in 2 days' time, this was the essence of Baba Saheb's teaching on Sadhamma. Yeah? Purification, reformation of mind, transformation of world. Yeah? You can't have one without the other. Sorry, that's a bit long-winded, Mangesh, but you got it.
No problem. After the vision, what is the mission of Nagalok? Like, what kind of a work you do in order to realize that kind of a vision of Prabuddha Bharat? Well, so, like 4 or 5 mission statements of Nagalok.
Yeah. Okay. So we first of all we conduct training in various ways. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Training in basic Buddhism, especially Baba Saheb's approach, and with a social orientation. And then the development of an all-India network of alumni. And then helping them to be effective in local Dhamma and social activism. So, and then lastly, providing a place for interaction between Buddhists and Ambedkarites, people from different backgrounds, not only within India, but from outside India. So I'd say those 4 things are our main missions.
Right. And there is a lot of talk these days about an approach to Buddhism, which is called the engaged Buddhism or socially engaged Buddhism. So where does Nagaloka stand in terms of this spirit of engaged Buddhism or social engaged Buddhism?
Well, I just have to show you this picture of the walking Buddha. That's where we stand. He really is the symbol par excellence of engaged Buddhism. Yeah? And personally, I believe that Buddhism is in its very essence engaged. You know, if you don't go out to people, where is Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya? Yeah.
Great. There is a question from Miss Kavita Karakor. I think she is from Punjab, and her question is there any plan to open the branches across India?
Well, in a sense, we would love to have more training centers, but those depend on two things: people, trained people, and money. And at the moment, we don't have money to start new training centers. We have, I believe, a few students from Punjab, and we encourage our local students in Dhamma and social activities. We don't tell them what they should do. I would love to see these activities everywhere in India. Again, so I would suggest if she's interested in following this up, she can write to us and we can be in dialogue with her. Yeah. But intentionally, yes, we want to have something in Punjab.
Lokmitra sir, maybe this is the last question.
Yeah.
Why was Nagalok named as Nagalok? And why Nagarjuna? And why Nagpur? Why there is so much emphasis on Naga, Naga, Naga?
Well, I mean, one of those reasons is obvious. Baba Seb talked about the Nagas historically, and you know, he saw Nagpur as the center of the Nagas. And but so Nagpur, first of all, Nagpur is really the center of the new Buddhist movement in India. It's where Baba Seb converted to Buddhism. It's right in the center of India, and so we felt that this was the proper place for the Dhamma, especially Baba Seb's approach to Dhamma, to emanate out, to spread out all over India. And we wanted the particular energy that came from it being the center of his movement. The Nagaloka, we called it that really because of the connection with the Nagas that Baba Seb emphasized so much. And it's very interesting because many Buddhists and many scheduled caste people all over India have Naga or used to have Naga in their name. Yeah, I've known people who do this. Eventually, it became a derogatory term. Actually, it should be a matter of pride because it links back to this past Buddhist sort of identity. And the Naga, as you know, in the Dhammapada, the Naga is the strongest of animals. The Naga in the Dhammapada is like the elephant, but the Nagaloka is also the Nag, the snake. So it's a symbol of great, great energy, incredible energy. And that's what we need to transform, to bring about Prabhupada Bharat. And then lastly, Nagarjuna Institute. Well, this was a connection with our Eastern Buddhist friends. Our Eastern Buddhist friends in China, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, after the Buddha, the greatest person they see is Nagarjuna. Yeah? China has 8 major Buddhist traditions. Each one of them, they say, was founded by Nagarjuna. He is incredibly important for them. And yet he came from India. There's a cave just an hour north of Nagaloka where Nagarjuna apparently meditated. And when our friends from the East come out, they want to go there. So you've got, after the Buddha, this greatest of philosophers in India and who had this very strong impact on the East. So Nagarjuna symbolizes the connection between East and India that we want to cultivate.
So Lokmitra sir, thank you so much for your second presentation today on Nagalok, and I hope that the audiences could get a glimpse of the vast activities of Nagalok that you are undertaking in Nagalok. And we are eager to hear more from your third talk, which is scheduled a day after tomorrow, that is on Buddha Jayanti at 11 o'clock, the same period. I request audience to be there to listen to the last and third and the last talk on 7th May 2020. And we will listen to the Nagalok as a mission for Prabuddha Bharat. And Lokamitra sir, thank you so much for being there, and we really appreciate the efforts that you are doing, you are taking in order to strengthen the revival of Buddhist movement, and also contributed so much to this great and noble work. And we are very eager to listen to your third talk, Lokamitra sir. Until then, see you.